Creating editable tables in WordPress using wpDataTables. There are two main ways of how you can create editable tables using wpDataTables. First one is to create these tables using table constructor, and second one is to configure MySQL based wpDataTables as editable. Let's go through both. So first option is to create editable table by table constructor. So to do this you would need to go to your WordPress admin dashboard, go to wpDataTables and open wpDataTable constructor. So these first two options, I would like to prepare a structure and input all the data manually, or I would like to read the initial table data from an input file. So both of these options basically create MySQL tables which can be edited both from backend and, if you want, also from front-end users, by front-end users. We have separate tutorials on both of these two options, but just let's see how to create front-end editable tables using the table constructor. So let's choose the first option. I would like to prepare a structure and input all the data manually, and create a very simple dummy table. Let's call it dummy editable table. Let's set some columns like first name, last name, then let's say birth date, should be a date, and for example age, which would be an integer. Let's create the table and open an editor. It creates the table on the backend and it's already editable. As you see, we can see the backend editor where we can add new values. Say he would be 10 years old. Okay. So you see the table is editable and we can add the values from backend. But if we insert this table now in the front end, in the post or page, and go to the front end, you would be able to see the table data that we just input, but you wouldn't be able to edit it. Even though we are, I have admin rights, I'm not able to edit anything from front end. But it's very easy to configure this table as editable. We just need to go again to WordPress admin dashboard, go to wpDataTables browse page, then locate the table that we just created, dummy editable table, open the preferences, and only tick this checkbox, make table editable from front end. When I tick it, we click save, and then we can go back to the page where we pasted this. Reload. As you see, the outlook of the table changed. We don't have the export to PDF, export to CSV buttons, export to PDF, export to CSV. As you see, the outlook of the table changed. The outlook of the table tools block changed, and we get three new columns, three new buttons, here for editing: edit, new, and delete. So we can then add new rows, something else. And this data is also saved in the backend. This is how you can create editable tables completely from backend. But for example, if you have a MySQL table and you want to make it editable for your front-end users, then the steps are a little bit different. You need again to go to WordPress admin panel, go to wpDataTables, add from data source, and then create a new MySQL based table. Let's say MySQL editable video demo. Table type would be MySQL query, and we need to create query. Let's say select everything from city. So our editable table would be city, and we need to save now. It initializes the data, it shows us the columns of the table. So to make it editable, we need to scroll up and say we want to make the table editable from the front end. Then we need to define the MySQL table name for editing. We need this because sometimes we are selecting from a number of tables or from a view, and then we want to update only one table. So we need to define the MySQL table name for editing once again, which is also city here. And then we need to choose the ID column for editing. If the column has name ID or similar, it will be pre-selected for you. It will try to guess. Basically, ID column should be a unique column which has unique values and which will be used to identify each row. Usually, and actually 99% of the cases, ID column is going to be an auto increment integer on MySQL side, which we have in our case also as ID. Additionally, we can choose the editor roles. So here, if you click this button, you get a number, you get a list of all the user roles defined in your WordPress installation. It will be different from one installation to another. Basically, these first administrator, editor, author, contributor, and subscriber, these are defaults for WordPress, but the rest of them are derived from some plugins or from theme. So if you don't choose the roles, any users, even logged out users, would be able to edit the table. But if you want only the administrators and, let's say, subscribers or editors edit, you can click on these checkboxes, and only these roles would be able to edit the table. Okay, when we do this, we need to save once again, and there is one last step which is necessary for the editable tables. For the columns, we need to define the input types, the editor input types for columns. So ID column, I guess it should be invisible. And then the name, the editor input type defaults to none. If we have the none input type, then no editing element would be rendered in the front end for this column, and the default would be used. Let's say that for name it's one line edit, for country code it's one line edit, for district it's also one line edit, for population it's one line edit. We will go through all the editor input types in a separate video tutorial, so I will not stop on this right now. Just click save. And now we need to use this shortcode and a new poster page. So we can either copy it, or we can go create a new page and say edit MySQL table. Then we need to click on the button insert the wpDataTable table, place the cursor where we want to put our table. Then in this list, just select the table that we just created and click publish. So we don't even need to copy the shortcode. And we can go to view page, and here it is. So the table is editable, and the table is editable. So for example, I can choose one city, click edit, add something to the name, save it, and you see that it changes in the table. I will just revert it back, not to mess anything. Okay, so that's it. I guess it's really simple to create the editable tables in WordPress with wpDataTables. You can play around with it to achieve better results. We also have we provided a way to allow front-end users to edit only their own data, so you can check next video tutorials on how to do this. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
wpDataTables, the easiest way to render interactive editable tables on your WordPress site. Purchase wpDataTables exclusively on Code Canyon.